Here we are in the little butterfly room. Let's talk about time. Like how time works, or how I think time works, and how other people say time works. Let's start with some arts and crafts. A lot of people say time is linear and can be measured linear. And so that means like lines like that. But if we use our little paw stamper that's orange, and make an arbitrary starting point and say, okay, so time's linear. What happens when you start and you come to an inevitable end? Time just stops? Or do you jump to the back of the piece of paper? I think everything in modern physics says, and by the way, I'm not a scientist, I don't have a degree in anything, but I've studied some. So I think if you try to jump from this side to this side, that would take way too much energy. So if we take our second example, in our two little pieces of aerospace engineering pieces of tape, and we make a loop or a hoop, whatever you want to call it, a loop or a hoop. And we again use our little arbitrary starting point like that. And we say time goes like this, and it keeps going. And this kind of explains time, but you just ran back into yourself. So that means you can see yourself at some point, and you can keep going next to what you did in a very messy line. And that also means you could probably exist on this side of the hoop too. But what I would like to really talk about for a second with our third example and again with our two little pieces of aerospace engineering tape is if you take this strip and forcefully invert it once like this and then secure it, you have this weird sumbitch shape that's all wonky. It's all crazy. This is called a Mobius strip. So now we again use our little arbitrary orange paw starting point. Yeah, whatever. But this time we can see that if you start at an arbitrary starting point of the paw and travel through time and do things, we can see that our oddly slightly inverted strip is allowing us to not hit our starting point the first time. See, it's on the back, but there we are right behind it. So if we keep going, in a relatively straight line, working and persevering through time, look at that. We got back to our arbitrary starting point of the orange paw, and we traveled the entire strip relatively in one continuous loop or swip of the pen. And this is an interesting shape, and a shape that I will talk about later in the story. And I think this is really how time works for all of us, because this explains very simply one weird thing is deja vu events, where you think you've done something before. Because if you keep going and going and going, and we keep drawing an infinite number of black lines all up and down here, we'll eventually turn this whole paper black. And you basically means you run into yourself and other people multiple times at the same point. And I think that makes deja vu points. What do you think? Do you like the butterfly room?